Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Linda Shea, Director for the Division of Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. With me is Randy Cooper, one of our volunteers. And on Pet Pals today, we're going to take a look at 10 animals at our shelter that are in need of forever homes. We're going to start out here with Shelby. Shelby is a mix between a pug and a beagle, so we refer to her as a puggle. She's about 4 years old, and she was turned in by an owner. And the owner turned her in. The landlord where they were living, renting, said that they weren't allowed to have dogs. So Shelby was turned in with her friend MJ, so both dogs are available for adoption. Typically, puggles are very reliable in temperament. You've got the wonderful affection of a beagle, you've got the good looks of a pug, and you've got that in one dog. Shelby is a little bit overweight or a lot overweight, depending on how you look at it. She is 46 pounds. She would do best at being probably about 35 pounds or so. But again, when you adopt an animal from the shelter, we go over all of their medical background, anything that we know. We do behavior assess all of our dogs, and we are recommending Shelby for a home that has no young children. She's a little less receptive to small kids and their actions and noises. So, you know, older children would be fine, experienced dog owners definitely. And as with any animal, especially dogs, you want to make sure that as a parent you supervise the pets and the children to make sure that both are behaving well and being mutually respectful. Shelby, we have brought her up to speed on vaccines and preventatives. She came to us without any previous vet care. So you want to make sure when you incorporate any pet into your family that you do have a vet on board, that you at least visit your vet once a year, just to make sure that, you know, they get a nose to tail exam to make sure that everything's working properly. But this is Shelby, about 4 years old, about 46 pounds. So if you're interested in sort of a project and measuring food and getting her the exercise she needs, she would be a great pet for you. So this is Toby. He's got a pretty interesting background. He's a Bichon Frise. He's about 10 years old, but he acts like a 10-week-old puppy. So a lot of times the joy with small breeds, especially Bichon, they are just playful pretty much for their whole entire lives. So Toby has been turned in by an owner last summer, last July. He tangled with a snake, ended up in the vet's office for a snake bite, and according to the vet's notes, more likely a copperhead. So he has survived that, and you can see it, he's no worse for the wear, certainly very social and friendly. And the reason Toby was turned into the shelter earlier in April this year, or later in April this year, the family had a new baby, and they are claiming that Toby was way too friendly with the newborn. So again, if you've got children and dogs, cats, rats, whatever pets in your family, you want to make sure that you're prepared to supervise. Toby is very friendly, very affectionate. I could see where he might be overly social with a small child, but again, as a parent, grandparent, it's your responsibility to make sure that everybody stays safe, including the pet. Kids don't know necessarily that tails are not meant for grabbing, ears are not meant for pulling on. So again, it takes an overall supervision capacity to make that relationship work. Toby was with his family, looks like his whole entire life. We do behavior assess our dogs, and what caught my attention on his behavior assessment is that he playfully pounces like a cat. Bichon typically they do need grooming. If you're not literate with grooming yourself, you need to get them to a professional groomer. They have a reputation for being pretty much hypoallergenic. I don't necessarily claim that. I think if you have an allergy, or if you're very sensitive, he would be a dog that you might still be allergic to, even though Bichon have lower probability of being an allergen for people. But he is friendly, he is social, he is everything that people kind of consider Bichons to be. He's only about 13 pounds. We've brought him up to speed on all the vaccines that he needed. We will neuter him prior to leaving the shelter. All of our animals here are neutered, microchipped, current on vaccines, and of course we provide all of that information. So if you're looking for a smaller dog, if you're looking for a Bichon, if you're not dissuaded by his age, again, he is 10 years old, but acts like a much younger dog, then Toby would be a good choice for your family. This gorgeous little guy is Mellow, M-E-L-L-O, and that also kind of describes his temperament and personality with a W at the end. He is about 7 years old, is an owner relinquished. He's a Pomeranian, cream color. Again, he's got a birth date of August 2007, and he is almost 11 pounds. The little squeak that you just heard, he's unusually painful for his age. He's got a little start of arthritis going in the back end. We're keeping him on pain medication. Of course, we have done blood work on him as well. So if any of you ever wonder about how things run at the animal shelter, we do what we can with the resources that we have, and we try to be very considerate of a limited budget. But with senior dogs, senior cats especially, we do run blood work to make sure there's no underlying issues, to make sure that there's nothing that we can prevent, if we can prevent any disease from being furthered, we will. If we can make an animal as comfortable as possible, we do that as well. So putting him on pain medication required us to do some blood work. We did test him for heartworm, Lyme disease, Ehrlichia, anaplasma. He tested negative for all of those things, so that's a good thing for him. He does have, at 7 years old, already severe dental disease, and given his breed, that's not unusual. So while small dogs are very endearing, especially toy breeds, you want to keep that as part of your consideration when you adopt or bring a small breed or toy breed into your family. You want to know the possible inherent medical issues that might come along with that pet. But Mello is here with us, was turned in. His family was moving. The landlord said they could not take him along. They had had him for six years of his life, so since he was a young dog. Let's see, looks like he has not been around children, doesn't say that he's been around with other animals. So if you do have another pet and you're looking for a friend, you probably want to do what we call a meet and greet. Means that you would bring your dog here to meet with Mello. We do not do introductions to cats here at the shelter. There's just no safe place to do it. But if you're interested in adopting one of our dogs and you have an existing dog or dogs, we do recommend that you bring them in. It's not necessarily foolproof. It's not a perfect science, but it can give you an idea of how the dogs might engage once they're at your home. So again, this is Mello. He's about 11, almost 11 pounds, 10 pounds, 13.5 ounces. Would do best as a lap dog. And again, you just want to give consideration to his health issues. We provide all of that information. And my recommendation, if I were adopting this dog, I would get, ask us for a copy, take it to your vet, have some consultation with your veterinarian prior to bringing him into your family. But again, this is Mello, 7-year-old Pomeranian, looking for a forever home. This handsome guy is Gunner. He's about 1.5 years old. He was also turned in by an owner, and he is about 90 pounds, so a little different than the smaller dogs we just took a look at. At 1.5 years, he's pretty much still a puppy, considering the fact he's a lab. Very energetic, very powerful tail. And I liked our veterinarian that, we have a shelter vet, Dr. Sharon Thomas. She is here only 12 hours a week, so it's on a part-time basis, but very valuable, especially to our animals that require exams. And she was able to take a look at Gunner, and her comment is that he's a nice dog, he'll need lots of exercise, would do well with someone who jogs. So that kind of rules him out of me adopting him, but he is very energetic. That's typical for labs. Another typical part of labs is that they're really smart, they're very obedient, they're eager to please their owners, so they make great training projects. If you're interested in working with a dog and training them to have manners, labs are I believe one of the easier, as long as you have patience, one of the easier breeds to do that with. A lot of times they're food motivated. You have to kind of watch. You want to make sure that they don't get overweight. But Gunner's got a great temperament, great personality, is very social with people, social with other dogs, doing well in the shelter. And he had an owner. The owner acquired him from a breeder when he was about 8 weeks old, and now she's going off to college and cannot take him along. So again, we are the only shelter in Frederick County. We are open admission, meaning we take in animals that need us regardless. So we have 10-year-old Bichon, 7-year-old Poms, and of course 1.5-year-old Labradors. So if you're looking for a dog for your family, I suggest that you continue to either call us, check out online, or visit the shelter, because more than likely, if you give us enough time, we will get the animal that you're looking for, and we'll be able to make a good match for your home. But this is Gunner, so if you have dog experience, if you are interested in training a dog, continuing with the manners that he already has, he would be a great project for you. So this is Widget. Widget is one of those dogs. He came in on April 27th from downtown Frederick, brought in as a stray. And he's one of those dogs, when we looked at him, we knew he had been recently groomed. He is a Cocker Spaniel. He's older, but he's in good shape otherwise, you know, other than being a senior. So we were really sure that an owner would be coming forward in a couple of hours. He came in mid-afternoon on April 27th, and we just were waiting for somebody to come in the front door of the shelter missing their Cocker Spaniel. Well, now it's May 1st, so the stray days have come and gone, and nobody's come for Widget. And that's, you know, unfortunately, that's a routine scenario when we know he had an owner somewhere, recently groomed, purebred, intact male, in good shape, very social. You can see he takes treats very gently, so we're never sure what the backstory is on animals like this. We always feel bad. We would much prefer to return him to an owner, but at this point he's available for adoption. So we named him Widget. We do name our strays. Rather than calling them, you know, calling him dog 3608, we named him Widget. Again, he's about 8 to 10 years old. He's almost 20 pounds, 19.5 pounds. We brought him up to speed on preventatives for distemper, preventatives for bordetella, parasite prevention. We went ahead and tested him for heartworm, Lyme, Ehrlichia, and anaplasma, and he tested negative on all of those, which leads me to believe he was well cared for in someone's home or maintained on preventatives through his life. He does have moderate dental disease. He's got normal old dog things. He's got, you know, some cloudiness to his eyes. He is deaf, and for Cocker Spaniels, sometimes that happens. They're kind of, some of them are known for chronic ear infections. If the ears aren't maintained when they're younger, that can happen really to any dog, but Cockers, the breed just lends itself because the ears hang down and can trap moisture, leading to bacteria and leading to infection. So he is, he's a dear though. You can see he's very sweet, very social. I can just envision that he's been maintained in a family environment his whole entire life and now has ended up here as a stray, but again, available for adoption. So for the folks that maybe are looking for a purebred dog, a smaller dog, not necessarily a toy breed, Widget would make a good choice. He is older, so that's, you know, I find older dogs, older animals endearing because their temperaments, their personalities are already set. What you see is what you get. There's no trying to figure out what training they need, and he is very well mannered, he is very well socialized, and comment on his assessment is that he's a sweet boy, he's very active, and he is wiggly with handling, which we're seeing here. So again, this is Widget. If you're looking for an older dog, if you've got experience with Cockers, we would recommend just come in, take a look at him, or send your friends in. You know, not everybody gets to watch Pet Pals, not everybody has access to a computer. But this is Widget. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some more animals that are looking for homes from the Frederick County Division of Animal Control.
So I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Did you know that all of Frederick County's mixed recyclables go to a materials recovery facility to be sorted? For this to happen, your recyclables need to be placed into a cart or bin loose, not in bags. Trash bags are not recyclable, and materials in bags are difficult to open at the sorting center and are not accepted. The only exception to this rule are recyclable plastic bags, like grocery store bags, which do need to be gathered together inside one bag so that they don't get caught in the sorting facility's machinery. Also, shredded paper should be placed inside a paper bag or cardboard box so that it can be collected and sorted properly. Thank you for helping to make recycling work better for our community. And remember, please don't bag your mixed recyclables. More information on our recycling program can be found online, in our mobile app, or by calling our office. Recycle more, waste less.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. So we have a good problem at the shelter these days. We don't have a lot of animals, which is good. And at the moment we have more dogs than cats. So for this segment we're going to take a look at 3 cats, 1 rat, and then a little puppy. So the first kitty cat that's up is Pinky. Pinky was brought to us, previously owned back on March 12th. So she's been with us almost 2 months, and we do not have a time limit for animals. We get that question pretty often. How long do you keep animals before you make a decision on what to do with them? You know, as long as an animal is healthy, temperamentally sound, not dangerous, not becoming depressed, they can certainly stay in our shelter, and some animals actually thrive. It's a form of consistency for some that have been in a situation where they had no consistency. So in the case with Pinky, she's doing fine. People rave that she is a lap cat, and I see that she's actually, seems to be so. She's about 8 years old. She's a bit overweight. She's 14 pounds, 13 ounces, so almost 15 pounds. She would probably do best at maybe 12 pounds. And to knock off, you know, pounds from a cat, the easiest way, it requires patience and time, is to measure their food. We do measure food at the shelter. We've got limited areas where where cats especially can exercise as they progress through their time here. We do have a free roaming room, our kitty cabana. So that's where Pinky will more than likely end up, kind of to stretch her legs and get some exercise. But she is extremely sweet, very social, and I think sometimes, you know, being 8 years old is dissuasive to some potential adopters. But again, 8 years is really not old for a cat at all. Cats can live an average of 15, but you know, being indoors, being kept safe, being monitored, and certainly visits to the vet can lend itself to being much longer than 15-year lifespan. So this is Pinky, and she is looking for a forever home. This handsome guy we named River. He's only been with us about a week. He came to us as a stray from the Newmarket area, and he is a domestic medium hair brown tabby, about 8 to 10 months old, and he's just under 9 pounds. With all of our cats, we do test them for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and he is negative on both those. He's very sweet, very affectionate. One of the things that also happens here at the shelter, and if you're not familiar with the shelter and you live in the area, I really encourage you to visit. I think that our shelter is a good example of progression. I think that in the tenure that I've been here, things have changed for the better for many animals here in many of the housing situations. So River is a good example. He came to us very scared but friendly, so we could tell that he wanted to make friends, wasn't sure about the shelter environment, and certainly if you think about it, if you're an animal and you're out in a field or on, you know, with a family, and all of a sudden you're in a stainless steel cage with 100 other cats in the same room, that would be a little daunting. So River started out as what we call a wild box cat. We offer wild boxes to cats just to give them some privacy. Some never really get to the social point, and others thrive. So after just a couple of days of, again, that consistent, you know, meals and litter box changing, River just really came around socially. So he is available on our adoption floor, so that's a happy tale for him. He is intact at the moment. Prior to leaving here, he'll be neutered. He'll be microchipped, so in the event he gets away from his adoptive family, we can return him to where he belongs. And as you can see, he's just very friendly, very social. So one of the things that we try to do here with all the animals that come to us, we try to give them a chance as far as offering them some time to become social, to kind of interact with us. We have incident reports as they progress through their time with us, so we make every effort, and if it comes down to a point we're not able to place them on the adoption floor, we work closely with rescues. We have a foster care network, and we have other avenues that we try. But River, fortunately, is no longer a wild box cat. He is available for adoption on our cat adoption floor. This little girl came to us on April 25th. She's about 6 years old. She is a gorgeous domestic medium hair, your classic black and white, and her name is Katya Cat, which sounds pretty exotic, kind of matches her looks. She is about 9 pounds, just under 9 pounds, was brought to us previously owned, and she was turned in. Her owner, I guess, acquired her, moved, and then the landlord said that she wasn't allowed to have pets. So one of the checks that we do at when people want to adopt animals from us is that we do check with landlords. We do that out of respect for landlords. We also do it to ensure that an animal that's brought to us for a lot of times it's moving or whatever reason, that they're not continuing to cycle through the shelter. We want to make sure that we do the best we can in screening preemptively, so we can ensure to the best of our ability that an animal that we place will stay with the person forever. That's really the goal. It's not fair to the animal. It's not fair to anybody, even the family, if you acquire a pet and then within a short amount of time you need to return it because landlord said no, you try to sneak it into your home and somebody finds out it's not supposed to be there. So that's really unfair. So you want to keep that in mind. If you live somewhere where they don't allow pets and you still want to help out, I would suggest you volunteer at the shelter. We are always looking for volunteers that can socialize with our cats, that can do the things that sometimes we just don't have. We have limited staff. We have limited resources, so if you want to come in and have a cat like Katya sit on your lap, if you want to brush her, if you want to trim nails, we can teach you how to do that if you're not fluent in doing that. So we are more than happy to train you to help us and, of course, to help them. So that's sort of an option if you're not allowed to have pets where you are. And one of the reasons, we tease as employees here, we don't have to take them all home because we can come in every morning and we've got 100 animals that need our care and attention. So that's the same for volunteers. But Katya is here now. You can see that she's just enjoying sitting on Randy's lap. She's very affectionate, very calm. She is front to clawed. That's something we don't advocate, but she came to us that way. She's already spayed. She's microchipped, which will need re-registering once she's adopted. And of course, we brought her up to speed on vaccines and preventatives. So if you're looking for sort of a younger, older cat at 6 years old, Katya would make a good choice for you. So we're mixing it up a little bit differently on this week's Pet Pals. Again, we don't have a lot of cats in the building, so we've brought out one of our rats that's available for adoption. This is Scarface, and he really exemplifies the fact that we are an open admission shelter. We take in animals of any species from within Frederick County that need us, regardless of health, temperament, and of course, species. So he is a fancy rat. He's pretty affectionate. He's about a year old, was acquired from his previous owner. He was a free giveaway, and that's part of the problem. It's not that good pet owners don't acquire animals from giveaway sources, but sometimes when animals are just given away for free, people that take them may not put the extra thought into possibly keeping them long term. And the reason he was turned in, the people that took him wanted to enable him to have better care. They didn't think that they were providing him with what he needs. But from our perspective, he's social, he's handleable. Rats are incredibly smart. They are social animals. He lives by himself at the moment. He's not neutered. That's a little, we don't do that prior to leaving the shelter with rats. It's a very delicate surgery. It's a little risky, so that's the reason why. But Scarface is available. What you need to know about rats is that they're prey animals. They need to be kept safe. So if you have cats in your home, dogs, anything that might want to play with him, that might not turn out well. So again, a lot of times with having pets successfully is to keep keep them safe, and you want to be able to provide adequate supervision. If you've got small children or animals that interact one with another, you want to make sure that everybody's kept safe and that you're on it as far as, when you leave for the day, is he in a secure cage? Is he in a secure room? The other thing with rats, you want to make sure that you're providing a good diet. You want to have a varied diet, and we have information that we'll provide you if you're interested in adopting prior to adoption, things that you want to just take into consideration when adopting an exotic. In addition to adoptions, we do work very closely with Small Angels Rescue. They're a small animal rescue that oftentimes will take our guinea pigs, rats, mice from the shelter once they're here. We're really set up for dogs and cats, but again, as an open admission shelter, we will take them if they're from Frederick County, since we are 100% county tax funded. But if you're looking for a small animal, if you're interested in rats, Scarface is available for adoption. So this bouncy little girl is Evie. She's about 12 weeks old. She's an American Bulldog mix. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we've got more dogs in the shelter this week than cats or other animals, so we're showcasing one of our puppies. One of the things that you need to know about puppies, if you've never had a puppy before, is that you can expect to be tired, to be sleep deprived. You need patience. Puppies are very demanding of time, and they don't know what the rules are. And a lot of times folks get frustrated. So the best thing you can do for your puppy is to kind of put aside some time, resources in the form of time and money to make sure that when you take a small animal like this, a small puppy, that's going to turn into probably a 40-pound dog or 45-pound dog, that you offer them a good start as far as manners. They don't have to be obedience, agility, trial candidates, but dogs in general need to know biting is not acceptable. Counter surfing in the kitchen is not acceptable. Whether you allow them on your furniture or not is up to you. But if you're going to train a dog to not go on furniture, this is the age that you want to do that. And of course, socialization is a big deal. So for a little puppy like this, you want to take her everywhere you go, expose her to as many people and situations and sights and sounds as you can while they're young, to kind of desensitize. And then you need to keep that going for the rest of this dog's life. An American Bulldog can live an average of somewhere around 10 to 12 years, much longer, if they're kept safe, if they're provided adequate vet care through their life. You want to make sure that you, regardless of any pet that you have a veterinarian on board. So this is Evie again. She's about 12 weeks old. She's about 22 pounds now. She's going to be not an awfully large dog, but she's going to grow up to be bigger than the 22 pounds that she is. Prior to leaving here, she will be spayed. She will be microchipped. And again, with our puppies, we do have what we call a puppy process. We take up to 4 applications, and the reason is, again, our goal is that when we place animals in loving homes, that they stay there for the rest of their lives. So we want to make sure that our potential adopters have all the information that they need to make a good decision, and that we have all the information that we need to be able to place properly. So again, this little girl is Evie. She's an American Bulldog mix, about 12 weeks old, and she is up for adoption. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We're glad you could join us. We hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week with more adoptables from the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.